Hi everyone, this is episode 4. It's going to focus on relationships with my family, relationships like romantic, and relationship with friends. We're probably going to have to split this one into 2 just because there's a lot to cover, and I know people have a short attention span, so I don't want to bore you forever, so we'll just bore you for a little bit of time. This one was a little bit tricky for me to kind of write because I write everything down that I want to talk about before. So this one was a little tricky to write just because it's probably one of the things that maybe causes me the most anxiety, the most stress. That being mostly causing me stress, mostly just because you have to like rehash memories and stuff like that. So now I think I've come to terms with a lot of relationships that I have previously had, or whether I've kept or moved on from. So let's get the beginning out of the way. If you haven't seen the previous video, definitely click above here to watch it, and give that a like, a comment. Don't forget to subscribe. But like I said, today's episode is probably going to be split into 2. All right, so this is episode 4, focusing on navigating relationships with family and friends. So family relationships, like with my parents, have always been a part of my anxiety. I definitely don't blame my parents for anything. They were doing, what they could with what they had. They, never had the greatest examples either. So I can't give them too much flack for how I turned out. So both of my parents have had their own childhood traumas, childhood family issues of their own. Maybe that's something that we'll delve into. Hopefully when we get to the podcast stage, I'd love to have them on for like a podcast episode and to talk about kind of their childhood, and then talk about how it relayed onto me and that kind of thing. But right now we'll just kind of focus on my outcomes. So like I said, kind of probably a few episodes back, we have always been kind of a passionate, loud, yelling family. When we're frustrated or angry, we tend to raise our voices, we tend to get more aggressive, we tend to get angry and frustrated. So that's one of my biggest focuses with my family today, is to improve that. I obviously don't want to yell at my child, and I don't want my child to yell at their children. So we definitely have to lead by example here. So I'm trying to correct or be better at controlling my emotions. My parents have definitely improved as grandparents toward my son, so it's very important for me to continue to improve as well, because I'm my son's, main or me and my husband are my son's main parents, so we need to improve how we speak to each other in front of him, and how he perceives like how arguments should be dealt with, or how being frustrated, how we should deal with that. So that's something that's really important to me, and I really want to improve that as I go forward. I struggle with it a lot. Like I said before, I'm quick to get angry and I'm quick to get frustrated. So obviously, children are frustrating. They do what they want when they want, and they have no boundaries. They're looking for boundaries. So I need to set those boundaries in a healthy way, and try not to get so frustrated. I was watching a video a little while ago where the parent showed like an example of them getting really upset about something that was just kind of trivial, or doing the different reaction where they don't get so upset, and the reaction they get from their child. So when you don't like kind of yell or get angry about something, like your child spills something, and you yell, they kind of become more internal with their feelings and things. I think that's kind of what happened to me. So I don't want to do that to my son. So I try and catch myself if I'm getting too angry and I think in my head, you know, like this is something trivial, I really don't need to be this angry about it. I'll right away try to apologize to him and be like, you know, I'm sorry, mommy overreacted. So I think I am working towards that, but it's definitely something I really, really struggle with. If you guys comment below, you can let me know if that's something that you struggle with and what you do, because that's one thing I really want to improve. I really want him to be a happy, healthy kid, and I want him to know how to, you know, deal with those frustrations better than I do. My childhood was very verbally abusive. I didn't have like physical abuse. It was more just like we would yell at each other and scream, and it just wasn't very healthy at all times. I know my parents weren't trying to act that way. That's just, you know, what they knew. So it's important for all of us, including my husband and my husband's family, to have better examples for the only grandbaby. And we just love him so much. So we want to do everything we can to make his life the best it can be. So as a child, having that family that was really, you know, fired up and angry and loud all the time, I think that really contributed to my anxiety and my depression. Like I said, with that little example, you know, you get so used to getting yelled at, so you get scared to kind of give your feelings, or you become the opposite and you become kind of combative or angry back. So I think that contributed to my depression, you know, immensely, because I'm always feeling like I need to either get the last word in, or I need to, you know, like defeat the person I'm talking to if I'm in like a disagreement, which is not always necessary, you know, especially with your family. You can learn to let things go and realize when something's worth arguing over or when something's not. You don't always need to have your guard up with your family. So I think that's what makes it a little trickier too, because you want to get your point across, but then you also are like, you know, is this really necessary? Do I have to really concrete my point? Like, is this gonna make the day better or not? So as a child, I was always like a good sharer, which I see that in my son. He's such a good sharer, except for food. I don't like sharing food. Neither does he. I really like treats. I was an only child, so I only had to kind of like worry about me. So now that my child is starting school and stuff, I think I want to improve like how he shares with kids or how he acts with other kids, since I never really had that personal experience because I didn't have siblings. My family circle is pretty small. A lot of my family or like extended family they don't really travel much. So now, especially that I live in the US, I don't see a lot of people. My social circle is small, but my family circle is also really small too. So it's really important that family unit to me is as strong as it can be, because I really want to show my son, you know, how a well-oiled machine can work. So that's kind of the main thing with family. Like, I had a kind of crazy childhood. It was kind of, you know, I moved a lot. We were loud, we were yellers, argumentative people. We are definitely on a better curve to working with that, but that's definitely something, if in the comments, if you have some advice, I would love to hear it, because I definitely think we need to keep getting better at dealing with confrontation and conflict, but I think we are improving, so I'm happy with that. The second thing in this episode, or the second set of relationships I'd like to talk about in this episode, is like friends. So with friends, I obviously have two kind of, I have like subtopics. So I've got my Canadian friends and my American friends. For Canadian friends, obviously I don't get to see them all the time, so it's a little bit different as an adult, but as a child, I was always the one who moved. So my parents were military, so we would move mostly every 4 years, but we did have shorter, like between moves, like 2 years. So pretty much every time we moved to a town, I would find like a best friend, basically. I was very would attach to one person and just be like, I have to hang out with this person all the time. They're my best friend, which is tricky because, lots of kids stayed in the same town since preschool or, daycare or whatever. So they knew other kids for longer periods of time, which I really struggled with because I obviously didn't get to do that. So I would latch on to, a best friend, hang out with them all the time, every single day. I would struggle if they had other friends. It's not that I didn't want to have more than one friend. It just, I was so worried about, making the closest friendships I could because I knew I would have to move quickly, that I think I got a little bit jealous when my friends had other friends. And I would get lonely because, if my friend was off hanging out with their other friend, then I was alone. So that was difficult as a younger child. So my last move was in eighth grade. I moved to a small town in Ontario, and I think there was 2 elementary schools, but they were smaller. So I started elementary school I started 8th grade because we don't really have middle school in Canada unless you're in a bigger city. So it's kindergarten to grade 8. So I started 8th grade, and obviously that school that I started at, all of those kids, especially because it was a small town too, all those kids knew each other since, they were babies. So that was really difficult. I had to basically break into friendship groups, and a lot of, especially the girls, were really cliquey, and it was difficult to kind of break in. I did have a couple of friends in 8th grade, but I did have one girl in particular that didn't really like me coming into her group of friends. I remember she used to call me every day and make me cry, tell me that my friends didn't actually like me and that I shouldn't be there, and that she thinks that I'm ruining the friendship group. And I just remember her being awful to me. But luckily, once high school started, so going into 9th grade, there was only probably 3 main high schools, and all of the surrounding towns' elementary schools went to this high school. So it was a big melting pot in the public high school that I went to, because there was just, kids coming from everywhere and starting at this school. So I wasn't the new kid anymore. At least I wasn't the only new kid. So I actually ended up meeting one of my best friends in French class. And then I also became really close friends with 2 of they're the twins, 2 other girls, and they were actually in my elementary school, but we kind of hung out with different people in 8th grade, and then in 9th grade we all kind of came together, and the 3 of us became really close friends. We actually had another friend, but she actually ended up moving away before high school was done, but that little group of us were really close. I'm still close with them today, still talk to them today. In fact, I get to see them really soon. I'm going back to Canada for a baby shower, so I'm really excited to see them. But yeah, they were ultimately, my core group of girls, and I didn't move again. I actually ended up staying in that town, living with my friends, because I didn't want to leave high school. My parents actually moved, but they allowed me to stay and finish high school so that I didn't have to, move again and do that whole thing again for my last year of high school. So I really appreciated that. So my husband affectionately calls the 3, I guess it's 4 of us, the Pumpkin Spice Girls. They're, like I said, my best friends today. And despite the distance, we've stayed really close. We try to, catch up at least every other day, and then try to do FaceTime calls with all of us a couple times a month. They're just great. I just love them. And then so for my American friends, this is a little bit sadder. So when I moved to the US, I just had my husband. We moved to a town where the college that I was planning on going to was. So when I first moved here, I wasn't allowed to work I wasn't allowed to work or leave the country. So I couldn't go back home and visit my friends while my visa process was working, and I wasn't allowed to work yet either. So I couldn't really make friends. So those like first couple of months without having my visa to work were very difficult. Probably some of the loneliest times. I definitely remember calling my husband all the time being like, oh my gosh, I really need to just get out and meet some people because I'm so sad and lonely. There needs to be something out there for me to help me. It's difficult when you are, not allowed to work or go to school or anything. So you just like, I ended up doing that hermit thing again and just kind of staying in our apartment and not doing very much. Luckily I had my dog, Sophie, because she was my bestie at that time because I was alone. It really sucked. Once I got accepted to school, I actually met a couple of girls in school, so that was really great. I still talk to a couple of them, but we all kind of after school moved, and so now we're kind of a little bit further away from each other, so it's a little tricky to get to see each other, and they're all kind of new moms as well, so just trying to match up schedules is difficult, but I do still keep in contact with a couple of friends that I made in dental hygiene school. And then I also recently made a friend that I actually met through work, which is great. So I've said definitely 100 times, sorry. I am making friends. I feel like I'm kind of getting out there a little bit more. I'm hoping too with my son starting school that I will be able to meet some more parents. He got invited to like 3 birthday parties, so I'm looking forward to meeting some of the parents and hopefully making friends with parents as well, because that'd be so great to be able to, hang out with moms and have our kids have play dates and stuff. So I'm cautiously optimistic that I will be improving my friend situation sooner rather than later. It's something that, struggling with anxiety, I really need like a circle. It's funny because when I'm feeling really sad and upset, I isolate myself, but I really thrive when I'm hosting. Like I love having people over at our home, and I love just, walking around chatting in the house, and I just like having a full home. So I really miss being able to have all the girlfriends come over to my place and we just hang out and shoot the shit. I don't know if I'm supposed to, I can't swear. Like talk to each other. And I really miss having that. That's something that I'm missing living here, is having that, group of girls that just comes over and chats and we just hang out and it's just relaxing and nice. So I'm hoping I can improve my little circle of friends here and also, continue to have my pumpkin spice girls in Canada. I really think that I am trying everything I can to make friends. But if you guys know of any other ways of how I can meet people other than going to a grocery store and tapping somebody on the shoulder, I would love to hear it. Because it's difficult as an adult to make friends and it's scary. I hope to go visit one of my girlfriends who I actually became really close with here, but she just moved away, so I'm missing her. So I'm hoping to go visit her soon. I'm going to go visit my friends in Canada and then improve my situation here so that I don't have to be such a lonely girl. I need help. And this is also why I'm starting this community, to help with the friendship community as well. If you want to hang out, give me a call. You know, your girl, she needs some friends. But yeah, so friends and family are tricky. You know, it's never easy, especially when you move away from them. But I'm hoping, like I said, to improve that and to keep on keeping my mind open and my heart open, and we'll meet some more people. So if you like today's video, give it a like, comment, and we'll be back next week to hear about my relationships, because that, just thinking about it makes me a little stressed. But I'm sure my husband's gonna love editing videos of previous relationships. At least we're not doing that today. All right, thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe, comment, like, and we'll see you next week. Bye.